Do you remember your first Pokemon game? After you caught that first Pokemon and the Pokedex pops up and tells you all this wonderful information, like you caught a Pikachu and it's got this little text blurb entry that says it does cool stuff, and it's 1 foot 4 inches tall and weighs 13.2 pounds, and sounds like this? Wait, no, it sounded like this, didn't it? Sometimes there's fun lore, but most of the time you file that away for later because who cares? Well, what if it did matter? Enter the Professorlocke. I think I created this challenge, or maybe not, but I did put my spin on it. Sure, you can probably tell me how much you like Mudkips and how cool Swampert is, but can you tell me if this is one of its Pokedex entries? It's not, for the record. This one is. No, not that one either, actually. Did you know that Beautifly is 3 foot 3 inches tall and weighs 62 pounds? Pokemon do not make sense. So I thought it would be fun, frustrating, and challenging to pair this with a Nuzlocke on Emerald Legacy by the Smith Plays and team in hardcore mode. Pause now for the rules and quiz information. I'll put them on the screen here. See, I ran into one big issue. How do I keep myself honest and not take a peek at answers? That's right, this called for the cold hard logic of a machine. I'd program myself a quiz application. You don't know how to do that. You mean I didn't know how to do that. See, I learned about Poke API, an open source, free-to-use, fan-made repository of everything Pokemon game data. From held items to forums to body shapes, all of the forgotten Pokedex data is available, and more. So I half learned Python and half consulted GitHub Copilot. I'm not going to say I'm a genius programmer, but it looks pretty, plays sounds on command, and works. Mostly. Scatterbug is kind of on the small side. I'm going to say 5 pounds. Hold on. Why did that not code properly? User value round, correct value round is digit. Oh. But what happens is that it's rounding up to 6 first, and 6 times 0.85 is 5.1. My friend in overthinking and time mismanagement Clotendo took time to help me package it better, and now it's on GitHub. Click this annotation for more. There are bugs, so if you find something that is clearly not intended, please leave a comment on that video and I'll try to fix it. No promises I have the skills to, but I will try. Programming aside, after some studying, I established myself as the master of starters and we set off from Littleroot Town. We got off to an okay start, even if I missed a few encounters. Then Roxanne put me in the dirt. Hard. And not in the good way, in the killed all of my pets way. 4 deaths, 1 reset. I'll keep a running count at the top of this video for those keeping score at home. So I took a deep breath and tried again. We got Archimedes the Mudkip, and then our first wild encounter of the run was a Wurmple, which we named Margulis. See, on the first attempt, chat grew enamored with Wurmple. I figured it would be a passing joke, a meme even, but it was only the beginning of what would become a full-blown cult movement. We also added Rathy the Zigzagoon, Amelia the Talo, Pascal the Meryl, but that hardly saved us as Roxanne took both Pascal and Rathy from us too soon. We pushed on, catching Linda the Magikarp and Mose the Aeron before taking on Brawly, but he got a really lucky crit from his Breloom and robbed us of Margulis, of Wurmple. Chat refused to let me live it down for the entire run, and beyond. Before Watson, I caught Beaumont the Gulpin and Gardner the Sandslash as I brought us up to the level cap yet again to take him on. I trained and trained and trained. Then, in my confidence, I sent Amelia the Swallow to her doom. We climbed Mount Chimney, explored Meteor Falls, and started to get confident. We did enlist Sadie the Torkoal, Ignacio the Lotad, named after the maitre d' hotel who invented nachos, look it up, and Klaproth the Spoink. We hadn't lost anyone in a while, and then I miscalculated Flannery's power. But otherwise, we were doing pretty good. I thought we had a good chance. On the way back to Petalburg, I added Magna the Trapinch and Broddick the Baltoy to our team. Then, Norman, my own father, brought me to heel for my arrogance. One of his lackeys took down Mose, now a Laron, with a single counter. Then, against his belly drum Linoon, one by one, the team fell, leaving us with Magna, Klaproth, and Broddick as our sole survivors to bring us back from the brink. Along with Tharp the Corsola, I got as I was realizing I had run out of most of our encounter pools. Then I sacrificed Magna and Broddick to bring in Faraday the Manectric. With 3 Pokemon, Surf, and a fishing rod, we rebuilt ourselves a new team, and lost Klaproth due to a failed quiz stalling his evolution, Amanda the Horsey, Roger the Whalmer, Japetus the Tentacruel, Gilbert the Magnemite, Jean the Corfish, Kepler the Castform, Rabnowitch the Absol, and Esau the Gloom joined us. We had hope once more. We pushed through the Weather Institute, and Brendan... well, I guess we'll grind up before Winona and... damn it! Then Winona required us to set off a doomsday clock of future sight and sacrifice our beloved Corsola. Then Archie, atop Mount Pyre, took Esau and Faraday. Things were looking tough. I began to lose hope. We caught Linnaeus the Roselia and Mesmer the Chimecho, and against Maxie in the Magma hideout, Chat convinced me to roll back the clock and reset to save our beloved Cedra Amanda. And I caved. There just weren't enough encounters, it seemed, to make it work with what was left without her. I got us the fossil for Lily, spent some time grinding off stream because the rain took down my internet, and got us a dragon scale for Amanda's ascension to Kingdra. Then, on the next stream, I was able to bolster our numbers again with what would become most of our final roster, who I'll address in a minute. I started to feel confident. We took down Tate and Liza with no losses, and even knocked out Maxie with almost no help from Steven, again with no losses. But I was not prepared for fighting Archie in the seafloor cavern. We were laid out again, with 6 challenging fights left ahead of us, Wallace and the League itself. I finally caved after grinding it all up by hand and got some rare candies to build up our remnants. We had Amanda, our Kingdra, Mikosker the Sharpedo, never mind. We had Bass the Crotaley, Yate the Lantern, Cousteau the Goribus, Robert the Staryu, Agassiz the Piloswine, Huxley the Crawdont. No, we did get a second Crawdont. Chat missed Jean, and I was so convinced we were bound for failure that I let myself get talked into recatching one. It wouldn't matter, right? So we took down Wallace and marched onward, storming through Victory Road, knocking down Wally, catching and then immediately losing Goro the Hariyama, and arrived at the Elite Four with nothing more than 5 water types and an ice mammoth. We held strong through Sydney and Phoebe, losing only Huxley to Glacia, and took on Drake with 5 strong. Unfortunately, I made a bad switch and lost Robert to his Salamance's Crunch. Yate made the ultimate sacrifice to allow Cousteau, Agassiz, and Amanda to make it to Steven. All that stood between us and victory was Steven, a wall of steel. With my team of only water types remaining, and a mammoth, I could only imagine how Wallace felt. Maybe Team Aqua had a point. Agassiz, our beloved mammoth, and Cousteau, our bivalve champion, punched solid holes through Steven's armored team before succumbing and marking our final 2 deaths, bringing Steven and I down to 1 Pokemon apiece at full strength, and Amanda and I were too driven to be stopped. Steven's Metagross was quickly dispatched, giving us our championship, and I did it! I did it! I did it! I was able to make it through Emerald Legacy Hardcore mode as a Nuzlocke, thinking like a Pokemon professor, with 1 Pokemon left, 37 deaths, 1 full reset, 1 partial reset, and many missed quizzes along the way. So now what? What's next for Tyro? Well, I had a lot of fun and learned a lot of coding. I plan to keep learning, keep playing, and keep sharing. I did try catching them all in Emerald Legacy, which is a feature, but I got impatient and crashed out a little bit over the course of a 12-hour stream. Nope, I got too far off to the side. That's okay. Now, with the Switch 2 launched and the supposedly revitalized Scarlet and Violet, textures are weird. At least I'm not seeing the huge pop-in that... Oh wait, no, that Pelipper just became a thing. Yeah. That draw distance is not ideal. That's too close. So that's now what I'm doing on Sundays and Mondays. but I also have the code in a stable and fun place to encourage others to take on my challenge. If you take on the Professorlocke, let me know how it goes. Leave a comment, tag me on Blue Sky, send it to me, however you can. I want to see you succeed, I want to see more people take on my challenge. Till then, see the description for links and stuff, and please stop by on Twitch, watch the run itself, have fun, hang out, and try the code. Till next time, adios, vemos en Paldea, amigos.